What's going on out there in the land of YouTube? I am YouTubing here as I head to go do what I'm going to do right now, obviously. What's going on? How is everybody today? How is everybody? I got a copper over here on the left-hand side, so I'm slowing down so he can catch up. So I've got a copper right here. I'm just going to fall in behind the copper. Just going to go right behind him real quick. You know, like I always say, every time you see a copper, every single time you see a copper, your camera should be on. The moment, you know, I was going to go live anyway, but then I saw a copper and I was like, oh, it's time to go live right now. What is going on? How is everybody? Hit the like button if you would. Everybody hit the like button. Just take your finger right there and just hit the like button. You know, this talk is, you know, I can't see anything for the friends and family who are here who have not spent any time on my channel before. When I don't have my glasses on, I can't really see very well. And when I'm driving, I rarely look at the screen. I just kind of talk what's off the top of my head because I don't want to look away from the road. So, you know, I have a short and it went pretty viral. It's 1.5 million views. I think it's going to hit 3 or 4 million views. And so I went in and I read some of the comments, and it's funny because, you know, a lot of people, they fail to recognize how we got here and what they actually fear the most when they drive down the road. It is true, I will tell you, I am disrespectful to the coppers. I am not nice to the coppers. I never am nice to the coppers. No, it's not true. Not never. I'm nice to coppers, but you know, I'm gonna release that whole audit so people can see everything that happened. But here's the point. People seem to forget the biggest fear that you have when you drive down the road is the police. People seem to forget that someone that we now have labeled a Karen or a Kevin can call 911 on you. And if that Karen or Kevin, you know what, that cop just tore down this road, so I'm sorry. If that Karen or Kevin calls 911 on you, you might be put in torture cuffs. You might get arrested. It's very real. It's extraordinarily real. If someone calls the cops on you, you might be put in handcuffs. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Put a 1 in the chat if that's the truth. If right now, if you and your neighbor have a harsh disagreement, if your neighbor calls the cops on you, you might go in torture cuffs. You might be put in torture cuffs. They're creating laws now in different cities and different counties in America where if you call the cops on someone and it's not a valid 911 call, you could be charged with a crime now in some of those places, which is really a step in the right direction because as you guys know, how is everybody? I can look at the camera. I'm stopped at the light here, but how is everybody? Good to see you guys. Nice to see everybody. Random country, what's going on? Dan, how are you? What is going on? Eric, what's going on? How is everybody? How is everybody? Yeah, it's Butch the Original. Nice to see you. What is going on? Les Paul, how are you? DLZ Clips Guy, how are you? I only have a couple seconds to read comments and then I gotta look at the road again. So, you know, how's it going? How is it going? How's it going? When you lock up somebody for decades on end, when you lock them up for decades on end in the United States of America, and then that person gets out of prison, do you think they're a better person or do you think they're a worse person? How many ex-cons, felons are you hiring? And let me tell you something. There's a lot of ex-cons, ex-felons who are good people. But there are some of those people who go in, get 10 years in prison, they come out, they are much worse. That's the person you don't want to be neighbors with. The people who have to sign up, those ones, the ones who have to sign up because they're a predator, those people. labeled with the F. And there's some people who get the scarlet letter, the F around their neck, and they're good people. It's terrible. So, but how's it going? Locking up people. Crime's less, right? Crime's way down, isn't it? Drug abuse is way down. When you drive down the road, are you afraid of what? You're afraid of the police. You're afraid of cops. When you drive down the road right now, put a 1 in the chat if you have to be afraid of cops. That guy drove over the line, almost ran into me. Put a 1 in the chat if you, when you drive down the road, your number one fear is the police. If that's true, put a 1 in the chat. If your number one fear is not a car accident, your number one fear is cops. And I'm mean to them? Oh, Chille's mean to cops. He's mean to coppers. They're hiding on the side of the road to get you. They're just doing their job. You know, they're just doing their job. What is the description of a cop? Their job is to get you for an infraction, for making an illegal U-turn, for speeding over the speed limit, and you haven't. Come on. It's a racket. And those cops, if you get hemmed up, if your neighbor calls the cops on you, and the cops come to your house, your apartment, and you don't interact with them favorably, they put you in cuffs for their safety. Is that not true? You'll back the blue until it happens to you, and then you won't. And it's funny, so many people who are good people will be like, you know what? They're just doing their job. People who get tortured in torture cuffs, which you can go to endtorturecuffs.com and put your story about how you got tortured by the torture cuffs. torturecuffs.com. Go to endtorturecuffs.com. DLZ Clips, put that URL, please. So listen, post your story about how the cops tortured you with the torture cuffs. Just post your story. I want to read it. So the biggest fear that almost any American has are the cops. I mean, and just so you guys know, I'm not going to show my gun, but, I have my gun all the time now because of the sensationalism in the media that there's shootings all the time. And so what that does for me is it makes it so I don't want any gun laws at all whatsoever, because I want more people to have gun ownership, because there's simple statistics that, 99% of gun owners aren't ever going to shoot another human being when it's not in self-defense. And so if 99% of people who own guns are not going to run off and be mass shooters, then I want more people to have guns, because by percentages, you're going to have more people who have guns that are going to be for the good. Well, so you got to go out and shoot your gun, by the way. You have to go train with your gun, or you're not going to know how it's going to work. But I didn't mean to go off course here. But the point is, I'll jump off of this now and I'll go back into what I was talking about. The country is worse off because we have law enforcers. And people continue to say they're law enforcers, law enforcement. In every state in America, they go to post peace officer standards and training. And peace officer standards and training has a commission called the Peace Officer Standards and Trainings Commission. They graduate from post as a peace officer. They then get a peace officer certificate that they sign and swear an oath to uphold the Constitution. And then they magically become a law enforcer. Tell me how that happens. Because would you want to graduate and be a peace officer? My job is to uphold rights, or would you want to graduate and be an enforcer, a law enforcer? And everybody, I want you to stop calling them law enforcers. I can't stand it. I watch a channel. My mouth's so dry. Oh, this water. I'm in Vegas, so it's just boiling. It's 97 degrees. It is boiling. I mean, whoosh. And it's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter. So as long as there are law enforcers in this country, law enforcers, as long as we have that term, law enforcers, we will never be free. It's the Stanford experiment come to life, and we're living it out. It is Absolutely redonkulous. We are, give me 1 second. Oh, forgive me. I just needed to wet my whistle, but that water is boiling hot. I can't drink it. Everybody has to understand something. There's a mentality. Anybody ever play football? Anybody ever play any kind of sport? You know, I remember when I was a kid, I played football, and they had this acronym called EMAS, E-M-A-S. And we all wore a shirt that said EMAS on it, E-M-A-S. And it stood for Every Man's a Star. And we went around saying EMAS, right? And so when you put a slogan on something, when you want to build a character, you want to build something inside of somebody, if you want to, you want to inspire somebody, you put that label on them, and then you reinforce the label, and you reinforce the label, and you reinforce the label. Every man's a star. Do your job. Do your position. Every man's a star. You're a star in your role. You're a star. You do your role, and then the team wins, okay? So as we continue to push this false ideology that they are law enforcers when they are not. There's not a single law enforcer in America. They all have to get a peace officer's certificate, all of them. So I don't understand this infatuation with calling them law enforcement. Disagree with it. I went to ChatGPT, I had a back and forth, it agreed with me. ChatGPT said, you got a point. I said, I know I got a point. and it's disgusting. It's disgusting. As long as you have someone going around, over the line, dude. Mark it 0. Mark it 0. As long as we have people going around saying, oh, you didn't come. I mean, think about law enforcement. Think about the term law enforcer. You didn't stop at that stop sign all the way. You didn't stop at that stop sign all the way. You didn't cause an accident. There was nobody there that had to slam on the brakes because you ran through the stop sign. You just kind of rolled up, didn't want to come to a full stop because there's nobody around, and you just went through it. But the filthy pig was hiding over there on the side. And next thing you know, your insurance is going to go up. You got a 4-point ticket. You got to go to driver's education. That's law enforcement. That's what law enforcing is. That's what it is. That's what that is. You commonly would say, oh, that's a California stop. You got a stupid idea put in your head. No, he didn't come to a full stop. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. He didn't come to a full stop. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. Oh, I'm a law enforcer, so I'm going to get you because you didn't come to a full stop right here. Yeah, but there was nobody around. I'm in a hurry. I got to go pick up my kid. I don't care. You didn't come to a full stop right here. You got to can you step out of the car? And now I'm dealing with somebody. I got to step out of the car. I got to step out of the car. Bro. But people are still infatuated with calling these guys law enforcers. And I just can't get my head around it. I can't wrap it around my mind. It's impossible for me to get over it. And people keep on, and people keep saying the term law enforcement. They're not law enforcers, they're peace officers. They swear an oath to uphold the Constitution, to uphold your rights. I say this all the time. So just imagine a glass table. If you sign up to be a peace officer, you are under the glass table and the people are standing on the glass table. Your job is to uphold my rights, not to enforce laws upon me, not to create the term California stop. Oh, that's a California stop. He didn't stop all the way. Give him a ticket. Quick. Pull him over. Emergency lights. Get him on the side of the road. It's gone so far now that people, every single DUI checkpoint, every single person going through, it should be a problem. It should be a problem at a DUI checkpoint. It should be a problem. I'm not going to agree. I'm going to be the most contentious prick ever. And then people will go on my page and go, man, that guy's a real dick. Yeah, I'm a real dick about stopping at a Nazi checkpoint. Yeah, I'm a real dick to cops who enforce Nazi checkpoints. So, you know, how's it going? I mean, how's it going? Is crime better now that we've locked everybody up for decades? Do you feel comfortable with the felon living next to you, even though the felon may be a great guy? Do you feel comfortable with felons around you? That they've been locked in a dungeon for 10 or 15, 20 years? Do you think that makes society better? Well, we're seeing it. Is crime way down? Are rapes down? DUIs down? Drug abuse down? Everything's down, right? Everything's a lot better now that we've been locking people up for decades and decades. You know, we are tough on crime in America, and then we have dog cities full of people living in tents. It's like, it's unbelievable. And the people who call themselves law enforcers, in my perspective, from the way I see it, when I swore to uphold the Constitution, the people calling themselves law enforcers are the biggest problem you have. Not just me, you. The biggest problem you have is law enforcers where you live. And if you check the scorecard, I just gave it to you. Is crime down? What about child pornography, the most disgusting thing there is? What about child porn? That's where full-grown adults literally do. Disgusting, right? It's down, right? It's way down. We've had law enforcement for so long. You know, the taking of children's innocence and broadcasting it has got to be done, right? What about sexual assaults? Sexual assaults are way down. No. Murders, no. Assault, no. What's down? What's good? Tell me the positive effect of law enforcers. I'm disrespectful to pigs. It's true. I'm mean to pigs. You know, and I got videos coming out right now over the next couple of days where we'll all show you that I have interactions with some guys who I hope are not pigs. I hope are good dudes. I hope they're good people. I have a conversation with Officer Pata for the Las Vegas Metro Police Department. We talked for 45 minutes. And I filmed the whole thing. And I want to believe that Para is a good dude, man. But for the most part, he's a part of a Death Star. He's a part of an evil gang that, just so you know, when I was sitting there talking to Para for 45 minutes, if one of the other coppers had decided I was too close to the scene and come running in and grab me from behind, the guy I talked to for 45 minutes would join him in holding me down on the ground and making sure they got my hands behind my back to torture cuff me. And Para, I really liked him. But am I wrong? Put a 1 in the chat if it's true. I sat and talked to the guy for at least, it was an hour long, so at least 30 minutes where I talked to the guy straight. If one of his buddies put me in a headlock, he would join him. He would join him in 15 seconds flat. So, anyway, I did the worst thing I could do last night. I ate like 15 cookies, man. I went crazy on the cookies. I've been sick all day trying to hold myself together. I try not to eat the sugar, and then I just binged on it wasn't just cookies. It was like cookies and brownies, and I've been bloated and felt just miserable. I have felt miserable all day. But I've just got to get it out. I've just got to exercise it out of my body is what I have to do. You know, I feel miserable beyond the pale. But, you know, reading, though, how people would believe that a freedom fighter was and then here's the funny part. I told that piggy I was a constitutional law scholar. So everybody in the comments thinks that I was bragging about my degrees. So if you go and you do a tiny bit of research, right? what you'll find is that some people don't like you saying that you're smarter than someone else or you're right. You can do a tiny bit of research on it. It's not going to win over some people for sure, especially because of what it does psychologically to other people when you espouse your knowledge. And then I followed through and I sued those cops. So then the knowledge is real. We actually do have something going on there, because unless you can file your federal civil rights lawsuit, then maybe I do know a thing or two, right? So then people don't like that. I mean, the freedom fighters respect it because they know I'm holding these guys accountable. But, you know, just so the people who came there and cried and were crying that I was mean to the cop, yes, I was. I was mean to him. Torture cuffs have always hurt me, so that my little bit of sass toward him, I don't feel bad one bit. As far as your mean comments, I've been through cancel culture a couple times. So yeah. The first time you go through cancel culture, it's rough. Really hard to go through. But then after that, and people try to cancel you, you know, when you really go through it, where your TikTok accounts with your 300,000 subscribers get deleted, you know, that is really painful. That's really cancel culture. They really did successfully cancel your accounts. And so it hurts. But then after that, now people talk shit, and I'm just like, bro, get in line. There's a line to take me down, dude. There's a line. I tell them, go online. There's whole troll farms for me, bro. Get some resources, get some help. Connect with others. Because you can't stop me. The only person who can stop me is me if I stop working. That's the only thing that can stop me. Nothing can stop me but me. That's it. You can kill me, that'll stop me, but nothing's gonna stop me. I will just continue to do the work until the work is done and the system gets changed. My resolve never goes deeper. It has to happen. It absolutely has to happen. Oh, shoot, I can see some comments now. Hold on. Let me say hello to some people. I stopped. I forgot. What's up with the Playboys? Say hello real quick so I can see who's in the room. What is going on? No name. What's going on? DLZ Clips is in the hizzy. What's going on, DLZ Clips? What's going on? You know, there's the system is our country is worse. Gary, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Alan Hub, what's going on, my friend? How are you? Mr. Countman. Trey, what's going on, homie? John, how are you? Tim, what's going on? How you doing, Tim Tracy? Good to see you, brother. Mr. Chicago! JH, what's up, Playboy? Richard, what is going on? Love you too, man. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry. I feel like I feel horrible. I ate so many cookies and garbage. Rocco, Dela, what is going on? How are you? Mr. Waldo Baldo's in the hizzy. What's going on? Rami, how are you? Thank you guys. I appreciate it. You know, I realize there's going to be some people who are not going to like me because I'm both tough and smart, and people hate that. And then I don't mind saying that I'm tough or that I'm smart, and people hate that. But I'm not smart. I just read a lot of stuff. And then I have great help. I have amazing people who help me. You have no idea. You have no idea. I have amazing, I got a bunch. You would be amazed that once you start to fight, Rusty, what is going on? Good to see you. You know, once you start to fight, you know, because a lot of people will say, hey, what do I do? What do I do? I'm not an attorney, so I can't represent you. But what you can do is start to fight and find your resources. John, good to see you. Good to see you. You don't ever give up the fight. I think the statistic is something like in federal tort law for cases brought against police, I believe the statistic I last read was 92% of civil rights cases in tort law federally that are brought against police officers are brought by the person who was abused in pro per. Do you understand that? 92% of federal tort law cases brought in federal court where the cop is being sued for abuse is brought by the person who was abused. They're the one who raises the $402. They're the ones who get the lawsuit written, the complaint written with the prayer for judgment, the general facts and allegations. They're the ones who get it all done because they just can't take being abused and sitting back and allowing it happen to them. I'm one of those people. You cannot abuse me and get away with it. It won't happen. I certainly hope I never have to fight anybody physically in real life, but I will not be bullied physically. I will not be bullied by the state, and I will not be bullied by people who don't have the qualifications or the wherewithal or the stamina to be in a real dogfight with me. Because if you get in a dogfight with me, I hope you got years. You know, I can't stop. You understand? I can't stop. I can't stop. I have people who are with me, who are my allies, that are my friends, that work with me. They can't stop. They won't stop until we get justice. It's that simple. So, I mean, you guys, when I write my book, it's going to be riveting. I mean, it's going to be riveting. When my book comes out, you know, put a 1 in the chat if you guys will buy my book, because my book is going to be riveting. Because there's so many people who have so many made up stories and allegations about me that are just lies they've perpetrated across the internet. I have to write a book and tell the whole story to how I got to here and what made me the way that I am. It's everybody has a story. You have a story, and my story is one that turned me into the person I am today. I'm just a person, and I go through, you know, I have all my good qualities that you guys get to see, but I got my bad qualities too. Like I told everybody, I ate 10 cookies and brownies and whatever I ate last night. I've been sick all day. My face is killing me. My skin hurts from the sugar bloop because I was, so I'm imperfect. Who does that? Who does that? Who eats 10 cookies? Like, what's wrong with you, dude? You know, like, who does that? Who eats 10 cookies? Why are you eating 10 cookies? The AC won't get cold. This is a rental van. But it's like, yeah. So that's the other thing. That's the reason why I don't do drugs. Addicts, the people who are addicted, who have addictive personalities and things like that. But, you know, so there was 3 or 4 talking points that I wanted to hit on this conversation I was going to have with you guys. And I just want to reiterate those talking points. You know, first and foremost, you know, how's it going? Take a status check of how it's going. Is crime down, murders down, rape down, child pornography down? Is anything down? Robberies down? No, nothing is down. It's all up. So law enforcement, the term law enforcement hasn't worked. We need to change that system. How well has prison worked out? How's it worked out putting people in dungeons for decades on end? And when they get out, is society much better now? How good is society right now? I'm loving this culture, aren't you? Do you love all the tent cities all over the country? Do you love people sleeping all over the place wherever they, because, so then the third talking point is let's stop calling them law enforcement, because they're not. They all went to post peace officer standards and training. They all have a peace officer certificate, and they swore to uphold the Constitution. Let's stop calling them law enforcement. Let's call them peace officers and tell them that their job is to uphold our rights, not to enforce laws upon us. Listen, what I do in front of cops, you have to understand, it's hard. Doing what I do with cops, you guys see me do it so effortlessly and so easily. But what I do is difficult. And if you do it, I hope you're very careful. I talked to someone last night who told me that they went out and did an audit of the cop, and the cop yelled at him, told him to put his, and he said he put his camera away and he walked away. Listen, Auditing police is extraordinarily difficult. You have to be aware of so many things going on around you. You have to be willing to be arrested. And you better know, and just so everybody knows, I quoted the wrong case law the other night. When the cop told me that I couldn't interrupt him, I quoted Cohen versus California, 1971. Everybody knows it's Houston versus Hill, 1987, that allows you to interrupt a cop. It's literally in the holding. You have the right to interrupt. But I said Cohen versus California. Now, lucky for me, those cops were dunce caps and they didn't know the difference. But I saw it and I just cringed because I was like, I said the wrong case law. I quoted the wrong, and I'm the one who reads all the case law. So I epically foobarred. I epically foobarred beyond belief, you know. So it's like, you can't just pick up hey, Chevy, thank you for the super chat. I'm just seeing John, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. You know, you can't just pick up a camera and go, I'm gonna go outside and start auditing cops. It's just not that easy. And I can't teach you how to be able to stand up to authority and not waver. It's extraordinarily difficult if you don't know. And you're for sure gonna get an adrenaline spike. That's gonna happen. You can see it sometimes in my hands. My hands will shake because of my adrenaline spike. My mind is crystal clear, but even still, someone who has written all the Supreme Court cases that really mattered, I put them on a poster on DeleteLawz.com. All the Supreme Court cases that are super, super important are on there. There's some that are missing, but there's so many cases that are fundamentally important. But I misquoted Supreme Court case law the other night. So that means if I can make that mistake in front of those coppers, then, hey, Gloria, what's going on? KT is having a lot of problems. I'm sorry to hear that. KT, I hope I can help in some way. I hope I can help KT in some way. Dorf, what's going on? Scott, how you doing? So I just want you guys to be careful. If you're gonna pick up a camera, a phone, and you're gonna go out and you're gonna record cops, I would have somebody backing you up that's 50 feet away or 40 feet away. And that's how far the cop will tell you to back up. I would make sure that there's someone there. Know the risks. Yeah, Press with Rancor was completely unafraid, totally unafraid. They arrested him, charged him with a felony. He's going through it. He's going through it right now. He's going through it right now. He's really, it's just painful to see what they're doing to Press with Rancor. It is horrible. You sent me the video. I have not seen my phone today. I've been just locked in behind my computer trying to get this video edited. Lawsuits should be taken out of the policeman's budget, 100%. 100%. I have about 30 text messages on my phone, so I have to go down and look at all of them. So if you text me, Gloria, you know I have it on my phone. I will look at it for sure. 100%. 100%. So Andrew, every single piece of handcuffing is based on the 1968 case of Terry versus Ohio under detainment. So the handcuff policies are based on what that individual police department created around detainment, if that makes any sense. So one police department might say that you can't detain somebody unless there's a threat of violence. Another police department might say that you can detain somebody at a traffic stop. And their detainment policies might include that they can torture cuff you. So, so Press with Rancor said that where he is in his case, plea deal, court date is this Monday. I will not be making any deals. Press with Ranker said that the plea deal is deadline is Monday, and he's not going to be making any plea deals. Amazing, dude. Amazing. OTVO. Overturn Terry versus Ohio. So, thanks for the super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. All right, well, listen, I just wanted to get on here and, like, I wanted to just, because there's so many people coming by the account, so many people are watching the videos because of the short, and it's like, just remember, God bless you, just remember, Chevy, just remember, when you drive down the road, your biggest fear are police. Your biggest fear are cops. That's your biggest fear. I mean, put a 1 in the chat if that's true, so that I know and I can see it. If your biggest adversary when you drive down the road that you could possibly encounter is a cop, then put a 1 in the chat, because that's what it is for me. Look, I got my gun. So if someone's going to play games, then we're going to have a shootout, because I'm not going to be just murdered unless they get me when I'm not looking and get me in the head. But if I have to defend myself, I will defend myself with my life. So who can I not defend myself against? The cops. I'm not allowed to defend my life against police. They're allowed to torture cuff me. They're allowed to put me in their torture mobile. They're allowed to take me to a dungeon. They're allowed to forcibly take my clothes off of me and strip search me. They're allowed to do that to me. And I can't do anything to resist them. You saw it. I said, I'm not going to torture cuffs. They're going to tase me. And then the violence is going to escalate. And I'm not going to fight back. So the violence of me not surrendering my wrist to them would mean that they would tase me. And once they tased me, my body would naturally jolt. And then once my 200-pound body naturally jolted, then they would then react to my body jolting in more violence. And because there's 3 full-grown men around me and they've tased me, now when I go to the ground, which is going to be inevitable with 600 pounds of guys coming at you, then they're going to land on top of me. And to get my wrists behind my back, had I continued to not let them put my wrists behind my back. And then at that point, because there's 200 or however or 50 volts or 50,000 volts of electricity in me, maybe I don't react, because your body, as soon as you get tased, is going to go into fight or flight, because they're on top of you, so you can't freeze. So I'm going to go into fight or flight immediately upon being tased. And then, because if you guys don't know, I work out all the time. Then when I flex, then they're going to start to beat on me with sticks and fists. And so, you know, like, I believe it's law number 23 in the 48 laws of power, know when to surrender. There's a time to surrender. So, you know, I don't want to be put in the torture cuffs, but at the same time, there's a time to surrender, to live to fight another day. Because think about this. Had I not submitted my wrists when they threatened with the taser and 3 men were around me, had I not submitted my will and let them put my wrists behind my back, violence against me would have occurred. And who's to say that right now I wouldn't be dealing with a torn rotator cuff or a broken shoulder or busted ribs? You know, there's a time to be smart. You know, I was reading the comments on a video the other day, and they said, Chille, you should have knocked out that wannabe gangster. No, I shouldn't have. I should have turned and walked away, exactly like I did. because, you know, your job and my job is to avoid the violence. It really is. Your job is to be the cooler head. Listen, you guys know I get fired up mad, and I want to, you know, I want to fight. Right? It's not our job as men and leaders to fight people in the streets. It's not your job. That is a negative to our society. That's doing dishonor to everything and everybody. You're messing up badly when you fist fight people in the streets. Man, listen, you have to lead by example. Listen, you guys have heard me fighting mad. I wanted to fight that cop in Ohio. At the end of the day, even though all those things happened and it hurt and there's good things and bad things, at the end of the day, the violence is not gonna win it. It won't. We got to get to executive power and change the system from the top down. It won't be changed. It will not be changed by the status quo people within the system. And we know that. So, you know, there's a time for us, and it's coming. Gen X is just getting into power. We are just getting into power. And we all saw it growing up. The boomers wanted to change a lot of these things, but they tried. The boomers tried to change things. And then a lot of them got stuck in the rut of the status quo. And a lot of the boomers who have friends who are now for change, they know what I'm saying is true. They got stuck in a rut of how their dad did it, which was the greatest generation, which was even rougher than boomers. Far rougher. The greatest generation saw World War II, and they were super rough around the edges. That was back when violence, I mean, everything's changed since then. So we've gotten better and better and better. I mean, society has progressed, but this idea that we need law enforcers, and please stop calling them law enforcers. Please call them peace officers. They are peace officers. And remind those cops when they come to you, you're not a law enforcer, you're a peace officer. And that's what we got to get to. We got to get to there, to collectively together. As long as you endorse people enforcing laws upon you, then you endorse a police state forever. Think about it. If my job is to enforce laws on you, then I'm following you around, seeing what you're doing, watching you all the time. Every single technological advancement will work against us as long as we continue with the ideology of law enforcing. It's a horrible idea. It's the worst idea. It's the worst. It's a paradox. You can't get out of it. You're hiring people over and over and over, calling themselves law enforcers, and you wonder why things are not getting better. You're adding more law enforcers every day. Turn the other cheek. So, you know, but all right, I just wanted to recap a few things, you know, and hopefully you guys have got your stuff together now. Hopefully you have your ID put together, you got your trifold up in your visor, you know, you have everything put together. Hopefully you have everything locked in the way it's supposed to. It's a total police state, Chevy. It's a total police state. We're living in a total police state. I mean, everybody here admitted it. And if you're watching this next week, next month, next year, put a 1 in the chat and put next to it, yes, cops are my biggest fear when I drive down the road. Put a 1 in the chat and then put, yes, cops are my biggest worry when I drive. And we'll see how many people, you know, and so I think I'll make a short of this. And I want you to put a 1 in the chat if when you drive down the road, the biggest fear you have is the police. I just want to know how many people it's true. That's all I want to know. Because for me, it's not. Because I am a mother and I I enjoy dressing them down because I don't think they studied enough. So, you know, Jeff hates pigs. Jeff hates pigs. Mikey's here. What's going on, Mikey? Gary is here too. What's going on, Gary? What's going on, Playboy? Is as the fallen slave? Is that who that is? What's going on? How you doing? What's going on, Playboy? Does everybody have a trifold? Does everybody in this room, has everybody in this room gone to DeleteLawz.com and gotten a trifold? And if you're in this room right now and you have not gotten a trifold, at least the downloadable one, if you haven't bought one, fine. Then email me now, DeleteLawz@gmail.com, and DLZ clips. Actually, send it to DeleteLawz clips. No. Send it to me, DeleteLawz@gmail.com, and I will send you a free trifold if you don't have one in your car right this second. I mean, I want you to buy it, but that doesn't mean that you have the money. You barely got gas money, bro. $6 is gonna get you across town. I've been there, dude. I've been scraping up my quarters before. I don't need your $6, dude. I'll give you the trifold for free if you promise to use it. You know? Okay? It matters that much to me. If you don't have that trifold in your car and you just don't have the $6 and you're scraping together gas money, dude, email me, DeleteLawz@gmail.com, and I'll send it to you for free. And then you got to print it out, which will cost you 10 cents. Go to a friend's house, print it out, and then keep it in your car always. Always. You know, it's funny. I sent a guy a trifold one time because he was like, hey, Chille, I'm in a really bad way. You know, can you send me a And I was like, all right, dude, I'll send you one. So it cost me $12.50 to send a trifold. So I sent him a trifold. He sent me a picture. He was living in his car. And I was like, this is a good one. You know what I'm saying? You did good on this one because he needed it. You can't have a back and forth with cops. You can't talk to cops. All right, I'm going to get the flock out of here. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'll see you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Butch the Original. I just saw your name pass by. It's always good. Butch the Original from Iron Tone. John, good to see you. KT, love you, honey. I'm going to watch your video. Okay? Bye, Rami. Bye, everybody. I'm going to watch your video, okay? As soon as I get off this live. Love you guys. Later, Gators.